Back in Denver at the Athletic Club, my name is Dave Vincent alongside Dave Fink for the men's fifth place final between Emmett Peixoto and Andy Nett. Our referee is Dan Armijo.
Good to see you, Dave. I know it's probably been pretty nice without me, but now you're stuck with me for the rest of the day, and that includes the banquet. We'll be sitting together.
I heard Jake Plummer said, I have 6 seats. Do you want to sit at one of my seats?
I'm actually going to take my fine and not go to that banquet, believe it or not.
Okay.
You just let me know how much that is. I'd like to pay that in cash.
$40.
Not bad. Thought it was going to be in triple digits.
Well, I know people on the staff that have actually been fired for less. But judging by your second game performance against Sean Linney, we really don't want you around us.
Well, no one likes a loser, so I understand.
Now, that's a good point. Our referee is getting mic'd up, making sure everything is working over here. And we are ready to go with this match. It's one that we have seen before, but it's not been the best result, or, I mean, let's talk about it. It was one of the most exciting. One of them was not exciting, one was.
The first time, Dave, we saw these two play was at the KCAC 3-wall tournament in the summer of 2011, I believe. And it was Andy Nett who sort of announced his arrival on the pro scene, where he took out Alan Garner and took everything Emmett had, who was one of the best 3-wall players in the world at the time, to beat him. They played again in a very big match last year in the final race stop before Seattle at the LAAC. Emmett needing a big finish there to qualify for Seattle. Andy needing a win against Emmett to solidify his spot in Seattle. And Andy played one of his best ever matches, took Emmett out. Now since then, they've played a couple of times in the playoffs. Emmett just routing Andy Nett in Houston, Dave. I know you remember that. Only a 12-minute match, 25-2, Emmett won the last time these guys have played. Now the knock on Andy, Dave, has been that he hasn't been that great in the playoffs. This win, Dave, against Vic Perez earlier today, only his third ever playoff win. He's played in every playoffs in every race stop. So that's a lot of...
Not a very good record.
Right. Well, let's not forget, Dave, Andy Nett has now been in 8 straight race quarterfinals, never a semifinal, but he's also been in 10 overall. So this is one of the most consistent guys on the tour. Only guys who are beating Andy Nett are the top 4, and that's been that way for the last year and a half here on the tour. Andy, Dave, is serving really well right now. Played Andy yesterday, Dave, and his serve down the right was maybe as good as I've ever seen it.
Well, it's horrible either way. So let's...
Emmett Peixoto, Dave, faced match point today against Aaron Garner. He trailed 15-1 in his first playoff match today against Aaron Garner. He battled his way all the way back, took a 24-20 lead. Aaron Garner hit, wait for this, Dave, 5 straight crack-out aces to take a 25-24 lead. I know you don't believe me.
No.
25-24 after 5 straight aces. Aaron Garner had a huge back wall setup that came all the way out to the short line to win the match. He puts it in the ground. Emmett goes back in, and Aaron inexplicably hits a lob serve return straight into the ground, then just 2 terrible returns that were fat setups for Emmett, which he took care of.
There's a beautiful corner kill right there from Andy Nett. Now, what did Andy do in the playoffs?
Well, Andy took care of Vic Perez pretty easily, Dave, 25-13. And, you know, Andy's playing good ball right now, Dave. He's tournament tough. He's traveling to a lot of events. Last week he was in New York. Of course, he was in Alaska. And he's also playing some other local tournaments at home, so he's sharp.
Short. 1 serve.
I believe, Dave, Andy's left has really improved, particularly his left-hand power serve return. Emmett has been a really slow starter here in this event, Dave. I mean, not only with his shot making, but his movement is a little slow. You remember yesterday he fell behind 13-3 against Charlie Shanks. Even against Anthony Celesto, Dave, in a match that he won 25-4, he started really slow. I mean, they traded side outs for about 7 or 8 minutes at 3-all. And Emmett finally broke away, but today, of course, down 15-1. That's that shot that Emmett never had until he hurt his shoulder. He developed that right fist. He said, I need this fist shot. I see Tony Healy hitting it, Sean Lenning, I need it. He's got it. Very nice swing on the back wall from Emmett as he hits the kill pass with a little bit of reverse. Runs away from Andy there.
You might not know this, but you and I are the line judges here. That was predetermined by the referee, and then he got a little flack, and we heard it live there while you were talking from Emmett Peixoto, who said, we can't see anything on a monitor. That's what Emmett said, which is absolutely the opposite of the truth.
Well, it's kind of
Our
like his
monitor,
reffing. Whatever his call is actually the opposite of the truth.
In a high definition monitor, you really can see pretty much everything.
Emmett's saying, Dave, you know, I feel like my return of serve is pretty good because I'm really quick, humble brag, and I can float the ball up softly and get myself into the rallies, but sometimes I play these great servers like Andy Nett and Luis Moreno, and they're going to get a lot of free points, and that's frustrating for me because I don't get a lot of free points with my serve. Oh, and look at that behind the back, Emmett off a bad bounce, and that's an avoidable. Emmett picked the wrong profession, Dave. He should be in San Francisco in the theater. Perhaps, Dave, that could be his next move.
Well, I made a pact never to talk bad about a Peixoto or a referee. Unless a Peixoto is refereeing, and then it cancels itself out. The odd thing about that is that Emmett was actually creating an avoidable hinder, and then he turns around and tells the crowd they should be clapping because he hit a ball behind his back.
Well,
so I thought
it was a clear avoidable, and
he turned it around.
Yeah. Beautiful shot there from Andy. Oh, I thought Andy made that.
So did I.
I just called it wrong. 3 serves 5.
Dave, Andy has to be feeling some effects of all the traveling he's done in the last couple of weeks. Alaska, New York, and now here in the span of about 25 days, and a lot of handball matches at each of those locations.
Point. 4-5.
Yeah, you think that's tough. Talking to Abraham, I think he went to Vegas, Chicago, Alaska, here, Houston, and he's been all around. And he said it's been something like 5 tournaments in 7 weeks, and that must be just.
Well, let's play it over. 5-4.
Andy's already doing a lot better than he did last time these guys played in the 5th place final. Emmett's new nickname, Dave, is Mr. Fifth.
Well, that was
finished 5th in the last 2 race stops. Here he is again in the 5th place final.
Second serve.
That should be a setup for Emmett's strong left hand, and he just powers it down the left wall for a point.
5-6. Hold it.
Dave, you find that the players are very competitive in the playoffs, but the edge is off just a little bit. The guys are playing hard, but also having a good time because, you know, once you lose in the tournament, David, the second loss doesn't bother you nearly as much. Terrible air there from Andy.
Dave, do you think that eventually with this live broadcast, the way the technology is working, that the line judges could be the broadcast booth? Maybe what we could do is, you see here at our broadcast booth, we have 2 monitors, one that is pointing outward for the fans to watch it. Maybe we move a monitor right near the referee, and what we do is we give them the replay and let the referee determine, not us as broadcasters, but let the referee see it and get at least one chance to look at maybe a replay, and instead of going to the line judge, or maybe going to the line judges and then also deferring to the TV monitor as well and using that as a tool.
I think it's a viable tool. I don't know why you didn't mention the third monitor, Dave, that has live golf on.
What about that?
I mean, we have 3 monitors, not 2.
Purposely did not mention it.
Well, it's, if you're reporting, I figured you'd report exactly what's going on here.
Well, my reporting is a little different than yours. In other words, I don't always report the facts.
Oh.
7-6.
Do you find that clown routine, Dave, a little bit disrespectful towards your opponent?
Well, not in Alaska. I felt it was much needed. If your opponent like Anthony Celesto likes it.
Well, Anthony Celesto already an elite player, Dave, so, you know, he's used to being on the big stage and playing the big names. You know that.
Right. Andy hits that ball into the ground.
8-6.
Andy Nett has his lovely girlfriend, Bailey Chandler, here in the front row. Good pass shot there from Andy. It's been close throughout here early in this match, Dave. It says game 1, but we're only playing a 1-game match to 25. That's another fine, believe it or not, Dave.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, it is only just 1 game. I mean, if she would have put 1 game on the scoreboard, would that have been okay?
Well, game 1 implies, and I know you're going to say implies to who, but let's be honest, game 1 implies that this is a best-of-3 match.
I didn't. It wasn't an implication that I took.
So what you're saying is that the fine maybe should be reduced.
I don't think there should be a fine.
Well, I disagree with you.
I mean, it is game 1, and it will always be game 1.
I'm going to go ahead and recommend a full fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna like that too much. But now, on the other hand, you have been fined, I heard from the booth, the broadcast van, 6 times for not sitting in the proper spot here in the broadcast studio. And so maybe now it's only 5 as we cross-check those off, or maybe not.
Andy with a miss hit. Is that tough, Dave, as being a tall guy like yourself and Andy Nett, to get down that low and hit those re-kills?
Yeah, it's really tough. And that's why you have to kind of admire, like, Charlie Shanks is able to hit the ball so hard and flatten out balls because he's just as tall.
Do you think Charlie's Irish whip helps him, though, being as tall as he is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't take it on every shot.
Together at 8.
Here we are tied at 8. Charlie doesn't do the Irish whip on every shot. I saw that short.
1 serve.
It's kind of his finishing move, Dave, like Hulk Hogan's leg kick when he's got you on the ground and he goes to the flying leg kick, you know, when he lands on you with that right leg. That's kind of like Charlie Shanks' Irish whip. That's like the closer.
Well, you don't want him to do that.
I mean, you know, the Iron Sheik's got the camel clutch. The Carbine, Dave, has that amazing Irish whip. It's called the Lights Out, actually. I said, you know, why don't you just go with that on every shot and just put the lights out during every rally? And he just gave me that wry smile, Dave, and chuckled and walked away. Kind of like, you've got a lot to learn.
You see Emmett a little frustrated with himself there. One game match at 25. I don't know if you noticed, but the scoreboard does say one game, and then it says 225. Maybe your eyesight isn't as good as you thought.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you noticed, though, but that has been changed.
Oh,
Clearly,
really?
Dave, it was.
I don't know. I don't
changed,
remember seeing that.
Well, it was changed very quickly to try and avoid that fine.
We might have to bring someone else in here to.
Look at that shot from Andy. And Emmett gets it. That should have been a fly kill for Andy. And he lets it get to the back wall, and then it's virtually impossible back there. And Dave, as it stands right now, if Seattle were to start right now, Aaron Garner, if Nadia Alvarado did not take his invitation, that's a big if.
Which he won't.
Okay. If Paul Brady does not take his invitation.
Which he's not going to.
I was waiting for that. Thank you. Aaron Garner will be our 8th invited player, which means right now, Aaron Garner would face Charlie Shanks in the first round.
Look at that good get right there from Emmett Peixoto. Well, then we'd have 2 brothers being named to the Elite 8 in Seattle, Washington.
That would be a first. We could have brother-in-laws being named to the senior race for 8 4-player championship. Dave, I know that you kind of.
Sorry, but that was funny. Emmett got hit by an 80-mile-per-hour return of serve from Andy, and it made this real loud sound, and Emmett goes, "Hit me," right? And then referee Den Armijo says, "Look like a crack." Just quoting and reporting. As it hit Emmett square in the middle of his buttocks. I hate being the interpreter for that shenanigans.
Sounds like you like it.
Well, it was funny.
Well, Emmett, Dave, has been involved in some of the best matches we've seen here in this event. I know that you didn't get to see the dark match that was played earlier this morning because there was a scintillating senior race for 8 tour match on at the same time. It's going to go down in history as one of the great matches. But it was Emmett who did take out Aaron Garner in overtime. Emmett's second overtime match of this event. Emmett played probably the best match of the event against Charlie Shanks, the most exciting. And Dave, I'm a fan of all matches being 1 game to 25. I'm going to push for that at the next player meeting. I think it's just a lot more exciting.
You see Emmett's really wanting to get the crowd to clap for him after he makes a good play. Dave, is that something you like too, when you make a good play and you listen and nothing happens?
Well,
that upset you a little bit?
I've been hearing crickets my whole life.
Okay. What I find odd is when they clap for things and you think to yourself, why are they?
Well, that's when I lose my mind.
That was a terrible shot.
Yeah. There's a setup for Andy. Andy does not push his weight into that, but he doesn't need to because he's so strong. He uses his momentum off of his back leg.
10-11. Short.
I'm assuming you saw that short as well, Dave.
I did not.
You saw that good?
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was close enough for an appeal at the very least.
He's supposed to be one of the line judges, and I just didn't see it. I'd sometimes look away.
I'm shocked. Huge setup for Andy, and Dave, he didn't take any chances there. He hit that 92 miles per hour as I check my radar gun here, which is finally working.
Together at 11.
for
but
the
Dave,
first
that's
time.
the hardest ball that we've seen hit in this event. Of course, we've only been using the radar gun for 15 minutes. But I believe, Dave, that very well could have been the hardest hit ball in the event. We won't know because we didn't have the radar gun functioning.
Short. One serve. Now, I kind of thought it was short too. I couldn't. Take one.
I don't know if you saw that serve. And I guess maybe we're not line judges anymore.
And that's a shot I believe Emmett needs a little bit more strength to make in that right shoulder. That ball pushing him back. He's got the open stance. He needs to arm that ball entirely, and he's not quite there yet.
Screen. One screen.
Dave, this is probably the biggest crowd I've ever seen to watch a playoff match.
Well, I think it's Emmett. He's able to bring these players out, these fans out. He became an instant classic yesterday when he made that comeback against Charlie Shanks.
Look at the pre-dive from Andy. Oh, look at that power.
Oh, no way this can make it, and it does. Emmett's standing at the dotted line, and he hits the back wall and makes it to the front wall, and that's where he gets a round of applause, but unfortunately, he's not winning the point.
Well, you know, Dave, what's amazing about Emmett is that balls he won't get in beginning of matches, he starts picking up in the middle of matches, and then by the end of the match, he's literally picking up every single ball. Why doesn't he just come out that warmed up, Dave, from 0-0?
I think he has to get into the flow of the game.
I agree with you, actually.
That's an amazing serve right there.
Are we drug testing here in this tour? Because there's something not right about this.
What, no?
What? I'm just asking. And I'm not talking about performance enhancers. I'm talking about recreational mind-altering drugs.
One serve.
No, we are not.
Oh, we're not? Okay. That might be something, David, you want to look into. I know it's entertaining to see someone with this degree of psychotic behavior.
Andy's going to come up and get this, Dave. Watch
I don't
this.
think so.
He actually got a hand on it, though.
I think Andy, Dave, should have saved himself that.
Hold on. Glove change
And you see Emmett taking the glove change before halftime.
Might be smart. We're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be back in just a bit. Stick with us here at racefor8.com.
It is. Which one? See, are you all right? Is that it? Man, you go and try. I don't know. We have an injury. Andy appears to, well, definitely dislocated his left pinky finger. We're going to try and put it back in and see if he can continue.
We are back here. It's an injury timeout after that 2-minute glove change. Andy Nett has dislocated his finger, and now we have people in the way. Our camera operator will watch the surgical procedure. I think they just popped that finger back in. Unfortunately, we missed it because a fan walked over and stepped in front of the procedure that is being performed here by our doctor on staff. He came over and popped it back in. Now he's giving Andy some advice here about what to do with this finger. Andy Nett just dislocated that finger. It was just popped back in. And Andy looks like it's just like, you know, this happens all the time.
Well, you know, Andy's a football player, Dave, and he was a former collegiate All-American quarterback. And, you know, you get your fingers caught in face masks and whatnot. Dave, did that happen on that last ball that Andy had no chance to get?
Yep.
And as soon as he was running back for that, Dave, I said he shouldn't be running for that ball. He has no chance to get it. And Dave, I believe Andy would be wise to just kind of throw in the towel here and save himself for the next event. You don't want to go on and damage that finger anymore.
I'm not quite certain that you can't still play with a dislocated finger after it's been popped back in. I mean, once you pop it back in, what's wrong with it? I mean,
Well,
as long as there's no ligament damage.
Well, you know, Dave, they don't let pitchers throw with a blister on one of their fingers because it alters your throwing motion. and actually can do damage to your shoulder and elbow when you do change that throwing motion. Maybe Andy Nett, Dave, who's so consistent with his technique, doesn't want to try and alter his technique.
Well, Andy is now taping it up. There's a 10-minute injury timeout. Emmett had the glove change timeout, and now we're going to have a 10-minute injury timeout as Andy Nett just got his finger popped back into place. It was dislocated as he went for a ball that he probably should not have gone for.
No, definitely not.
And you see Andy's future ex-wife, Bailey Chandler.
Oh, so we're there.
Where?
So you went
well,
there.
I heard that 70% of all marriages end in a divorce. And in Minnesota, it's even higher than that. So I'm just assuming by the stats as a reporter, not as, you know, someone that has any.
That also, first of all, it's not 70%, but that also takes into account second and third marriages. So those are people, Dave, that maybe shouldn't be married when you're getting married for the second or third time. And that kind of skews the statistics.
I'm certainly trying not to insult the Nett family and,
well,
the,
you've
and the
insulted
Chandlers.
me, actually.
Really?
I actually am insulted.
Okay, well.
I'm upset.
You have about 4 more years, 5 years left before yours actually happens.
Good person.
I'm just talking about pure stats. I'm not because
you're not.
Saw that live. Okay, so Dr. Rusty Ludwig, which we saw live here, and I thought it was Rusty because I heard them say his name was Rusty, popped Andy Nett's finger back in as we got that live report from Dan the Hand Armijo, and he knows a lot of stuff about hands.
Well, Dave, perhaps we could load up some clips of that first senior race for 8 match that we saw this morning, the semifinal match. If we could just kind of maybe midway through that first game, check out some of that action.
What are you talking about?
Between Nadia Alvarado and Dan Armijo. That was a match for the ages. I know that.
We're not going to do that. But what we can do is talk a little bit about. Aaron Garner, and his brother Alan, who just gave birth to young baby Erica. And I think we have some pictures. Dave, I'm not quite sure, but I think we have.
Actually, if I can load up my phone here.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
Sounds like we're making juice, though.
Okay, but we don't need to see your pictures. Look at the TV screen.
Oh, okay.
There is baby Erica. There's baby Erica with Mama Erica. Look at that tongue, sticking tongue out at mommy already.
Oh, how cute.
Oh, right there, and that's showing you how many times Daddy has hit the ball on the ground against Sean Linning. Just joking. That's baby Erica, 7 pounds 9 ounces.
How precious. Wonderful.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Toward me.
Absolutely.
Toward me. Come here, like this.
Can't go any farther.
Come here.
Looks like you're gonna have to move to your left a little bit. And you have a lot of room in this booth, in this studio.
Well, we like to be close.
Okay. Well, I actually, Dave, we had dinner right here in the last night.
The view over.
I was pointing to the rooftop skyscraper, Dave, that we had just a wonderful meal last night. I know, Dave, that
you're talking about that one.
I mean, it was already a great night, but when you took that microphone at the piano bar and you actually played the piano and sung along, I mean, that was outstanding.
I sang the Etta James version of that at last. That was at the piano bar. That was, I believe, at this one.
Yeah.
I can't tell from this perspective.
Yeah.
It's been 6:30 at night for the last 3 days.
Yeah. Well, the sun hasn't been shining here. You know, you're supposed to have 350 days of sunshine here in Colorado, but you know, unfortunately for us, we caught one of those 15 days that the sun wasn't shining.
I agree with you.
Nonetheless, it's been beautiful here.
Was it here, or was it that one? I think it's that
it was this one.
I think it's this one right here.
No,
that's where I played the piano. It was on this floor, though.
When we went to play the piano, yes. Yeah.
I thought it was on that floor. I think it was about 13 from the top.
And I can see now Andy struggling to hit the ball with his left hand. Dave, I know you've jammed fingers before and you don't believe in pain, but it does affect the way you hit the ball because you're not willing to let the ball roll through your fingers.
Yeah, that's true. And you're right about the pain thing and also right about the letting the ball roll through. Now you're going to have to play with kind of a paddle game.
Yeah.
11 serves 14.
But that's a great thing about Andy. We don't ever see him wince, smile, or...
Oh, Andy just hits that ball hard with his left. Oh, and Andy's just attacking. 2 perfect shots in a row from Andy Nett coming out of that break.
I want to say hello to Houston, Texas, watching the live broadcast on their big screen TV right now. Houston, one of our
1 serve.
big pro stops of the year. I hope we go back there. Just hope that they take down that back wall and replace it with one that we can film through.
I believe, Dave, if you just went into that back wall and removed just about a 1 foot by 1 foot radius of that dotted back wall, you could just put the camera right there in the corner and film. It wouldn't be a problem.
I agree.
You just have to scrub off that
Film.
yeah.
We're going to take a 3-minute break. We'll be back. Stay here. Racefreight.com.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
So, what's it gonna be? We could ride bikes, skating, movies, zoo, whatever you guys want to do.
Can we just do this?
Yeah. We could just do this.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards.
Oh, don't. Oh.
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, here it comes.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you. Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna
You
be
ready?
good.
She's excited.
This is the opening rally here.
How does Andy Nett make that get? And
Well,
Emmett,
how does the referee start this second half before the 3-minute break ends? That's
This
going to be a
is-
fine for the ref.
well, I thought the fine would go to the broadcast team with the cameras in the van, but you're saying maybe the fine goes to the referee.
No, the referee has to go 3 minutes. That's a TV break, not a the players want to play, let's get back on break.
Because I was going to say, if the broadcast team was fined again, Dave, not only would they be working for free, but they'd be paying us to work.
Wow. So we would get money for this then.
Well,
Coming out of
combined
the
with
red.
Thousands and thousands. And Dave, this is the 48th shot of the rally. This is our first 50-shot rally of this event.
Look at this get from Emmett Peixoto. Unbelievable, Dave. Look at that. This crowd's going to go crazy. There's no way that Andy can get that to the front wall, but he does. There's that dislocated finger. Help push that ball to the front wall. Andy Nett now taking a back wall shot, pushes it down the right. Emmett makes a hand air.
This is the easiest shot of the rally. 55 shots.
Unbelievable. And the crowd here now clapping on shots that Emmett doesn't do correctly, if that means anything. Emmett's usually the one trying to get them to get more involved. Score here is 16-11 in favor of Andy Nett. Made that 17-11.
It's so interesting, Dave, the difference in play from one tournament to another between the same two guys. I mean, Emmett beat Andy 25-2 last time they played, and here's Andy leading 17-11 just 3 weeks later.
Well, I think...
I mean, is that just sports, Dave? I mean, how do you explain that?
Well, Andy Nett's future wife is sitting here, Bailey Chandler, and I think he doesn't want to lose in front of her. I mean, that might be a difference. He also dislocated his finger, and Dr. Rusty came in and popped it back into place, and I think maybe sometimes you get that injury and you know it's not as bad as it might have seemed. He might go out there and play a little harder to show people that he has guts. Might be playing for the injury. That's with this bad hand right there. You hear that sound?
Oh, great shot from Andy. And you know, he only has that one shot from that spot on the court. He's so close to the left wall, he can't go into the left corner, and he also can't hit the middle of the front wall without keeping the ball off the right side wall. Terrible serve there from Andy. Andy has an ability, Dave, to put the ball right on the wall during rallies. He does it with ceiling shots, and he also does it, Dave, with pass shots and drives down the walls. It's a great shot, very annoying when you're playing him, though. He must be doing it on purpose. I asked him, and he just walked away, so. And that ball hops away from Andy. Emmett, Dave, is the Rocky Balboa of this Race for 8 tour. I mean, this guy just plays wars. Now Andy, who had a big setup at 17-11 to take an 18-11 lead, now finds himself receiving serve at, I believe, 15-17, although I could be wrong.
And you might be wrong.
Yeah.
This is a one-game match, 25. Immediately following, you're going to catch the Senior Pro Tour Finals, which I know, Dave, you can't wait to watch. It'll be Nadi Alvarado up against Matt McLaughlin on this broadcast. And
I wish I could catch that one. I just doesn't fit in my schedule, though, unfortunately. I think I will be back in time for the men's final, but have some other obligations, so.
What will you be doing, though?
Well, I have some other
and
responsibilities.
yeah, sure. Okay,
yeah.
What will those be?
Well, I mean.
Let's talk about that. Because, you know.
Well, what do you know? It sounds like you don't know. What I'm going to be doing, Dave, is talking to some sponsors, talking to some potential donors down in the gallery and also across the street, Dave.
Over at the pub?
It's not a pub.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
14-17 is the score. You said you thought it was 15, but you were wrong.
14-17.
Look at Emmett flying there.
Emmett might get this too. Oh, I knew that ball would come out with a sort of a two-wall Z.
17-14.
Great serve from Andy. Emmett defends that perfectly. And Emmett, Dave, thinks that every crack goes against him. Every time one of his opponents hits a crack against him, he's in disbelief. But when he hits one, it's just as though he meant to do it. Great shot from Andy. If he takes that shot about 6 inches from the right side wall and pinches the right corner about 10 feet before the front wall,
Second serve.
Thought there was a little contact there, no call.
And he goes inside out, but he doesn't get the right natural on that shot to keep it off the right side wall. And that's what I'm talking about, Dave. Andy gets that ball right on the side wall. And a huge hop from Andy, who's not known as a hop artist, Dave. But he took that ball off the right side wall and came around the outside of it and under it and just threw a wicked hook on it. And Dave, I believe that's what's so difficult about playing Sean Lenning and Luis Moreno. Not only their amazing shot making, but every ball they hit has hop on it.
Listen for the score. 14 to 18 here. Well, I kind of thought that Andy was a hop artist. I mean, on his serves to the right, he does a fadeaway reverse, and then he can hug it with a natural hook, but maybe not hopping in the rally.
I'm not saying he can't put hop on the ball. I just wouldn't call him a hop artist.
I like that shot for Emmett.
Terrible shot there from Andy. Andy was in control of that rally. He could have hit a hard three-wall wraparound, or he could have shot the right corner. Instead, Dave, Andy just hits sort of a strange non-shot, front wall, side wall, easy setup for Emmett.
You're watching the WPH Race for 8 bonus coverage. This is the men's 5th place final between Emmett Peixoto and Andy Nett. And you can see now that the crowd has completely packed in down here. Now earlier, if you just tuned in, Andy Nett was tracking down a ball that he would have never returned. And he flipped it to the back wall. And in the process of hitting it, he jammed his left pinky. Maybe it was his right, but I think it was his left pinky into the wall and actually dislocated his pinky. Dr. Rusty came out here and put it back into place, and then he seemed like he was hitting the ball harder. Maybe that's the key.
Andy is very mentally tough, and apparently, Dave, that carries over into dealing with pain. I mean, you know Andy has had to have been injured at some of these events. You've never heard about them, though. I mean, he's played in every race stop. There's not one guy on this tour that hasn't come to events injured or injured themselves during an event. And usually you know about it, but not with Andy.
Well, even during the process where he got his finger popped back into place, he was just smiling. Yeah, I dislocated. I don't really know what to do. You can see that he was sort of like, can somebody put this back into place? I'm not going to do it myself. And that's exactly what happened. Dr. Rusty came over, popped it into place. Now he's back in there still.
What's he doing? Is he at down there? We're over. There we go.
Are we going to fine Andy now? I mean, don't you feel a little bit sympathetic when he changes his gloves and needs to have 3 people help him get it on his finger, and he's a little late getting in? Do you kind of give him a little leniency for
last
showing
time
up
he
late?
was late coming into the court, his opponent was given a point. But I know you don't have a problem with things like that.
No. I don't have issues with lateness.
I was referring more to serving when your opponent's not there.
Well, I do have an issue with lateness.
Where do you think that stems from?
My Asperger's. Why do you ask?
Well, I was curious.
That's a nice revolving door corner kill from Andy Nett, and you're hearing the pounding on the packed glass here.
Where's Doug Clark?
His legend lives on here in Denver.
Well, that's what happens, Dave. Doug Clark has started a revolution, a banging revolution. Sure.
Point.
Andy was stuck on 18 points for the last 6 minutes. Now overhitting that serve a little bit. And I don't know how that's not an avoidable hinder right there. I mean, Emmett hits that shot and crosses right across Andy's path. Now, I'm not saying Emmett's doing that to gain any kind of advantage. I just don't think that he's aware of exactly what he's doing. And Dave, I know that you were attending some very, very important business there, Dave, over the last couple minutes. But I don't know if you saw, and that's the same thing that happened. I mean, is that technically unavoidable by the letter of the law?
I would go completely nuts. So according to me, yes. But this referee.
Haven't you already gone completely nuts?
I have.
Okay. So would that mean you would go more nuts?
That's what I think is weird here is that the referee, if he were in the court, he'd be lobbying for that.
Yeah.
But when he's up here calling the game, he doesn't lobby for it.
But if you've already gone completely nuts, can you go more nuts? I mean, completely is kind of the end of the road.
Right. You can't go any more deep than it is.
So it's just kind of assume that everything you're going to do is completely irrational.
I turned the leaf over, but it was already in a really bad position to begin with, so it's still back there.
And Andy takes that with a broken finger left when he could have taken it with his right and flat kills it.
You see what he does there? He has to readjust his finger and make sure it's still in the right place. 19-17 score here. This is the 5th place final. Andy Nett, for some reason, is still leading this game with a dislocated finger.
Shot. It was a slight miss hit, but Andy went for the right shot. Just barely missed the sweet spot, but it was where he was aiming. I actually believe, Dave, that taking 5th place actually feels better than getting beat in the semifinals in some ways. I mean, I know that you don't get as many ranking points, or that was a pretty good shot for Andy. You don't get as many ranking points or as much and as many bags of sand to pack into your suitcase, but you go home feeling good about yourself. You won your last 2 matches.
Yeah.
You know, they say in these tournaments and competitions there can only be one winner, but you know, you win these playoffs and you feel pretty good about yourself.
Well, I think you said it best when you're driving home, when 2 consecutive wins feels a lot better than that last loss, because then you get a soak in that for a while until the next tournament.
And Andy with 2 errors in a row now, 2 balls on the ground, one with his right and one with his left. And this is where Emmett made a big move against Aaron Garner this morning, down 20-17, ran off 8 straight points to take a 24-20 lead. And I think Emmett, Dave, thrives on these close matches. I think he's a little bit like Charlie Shanks, Dave, where his game seems to go up when it gets close. Of course, Charlie lost a very close match today. Beautiful shot from Emmett. And Andy with the pre-dive. And a good call from the referee there. But that was a great rally. Although, Dave, only 9 shots, it was tremendous action.
Well, every one of these rallies are ending with a replay, Dave. Why is that? I mean, they're hitting the ball across the middle?
Well, yeah, there are a lot of balls coming across the middle, but there's also been a lot of diving, hitting the ball right in front of each other. And there's another one, Dave.
Sorry, I guess I could let that one go. 18-20 again.
Armijo, Dave, is rejuvenated now with this senior tour. Oh, and Emmett with a great swing there. And it's one of those shots that we've talked about a number of times. How does that miss? Everything looked good. He let the ball drop. The ball came out in front of him, put a good swing on it, good contact, and just comes up short. This has been, Dave, a great match.
Very entertaining, yeah.
Well, we've seen 2 really evenly matched guys, 2 guys that really have a lot of hustle and a lot of gettability and athleticism. And we've seen a broken finger. I mean, it's tough to beat this match.
21-18.
Great serve from Andy, but Emmett digs it out. He's got those soft hands. And now Emmett goes with a fly kill, and that's a very difficult shot. I thought Emmett would throw that ball up to wall, back front wall, left wall, but he went for the kill. And that was a big moment there. If he skips that, Dave, he's receiving serve at 22-18. Beautiful left from Emmett.
I'm calling a point. I know, but you gave up. And then
Oh, that was way down.
I thought is you gave up on it because you thought it was good, and then it stayed up, and then you tried to change your mind at the last second. I know, but at that point, it was too late.
I don't think Andy saw that.
Down, but you weren't in position.
I've never seen Andy argue before, Dave.
Check it. Okay. You still have some time on your injury timeout. Sure.
Dave, if we can take an instant replay of that last shot, now Andy, I believe, is having some problems with his finger.
I don't know, he said something about tape.
But Dave, I don't know if we can take an instant replay of that last shot. Andy went with a kill with his left attempt, and Emmett re-killed with his left. I didn't think Andy had any play on the ball, and Andy was saying
21.
He wanted the hinder there because he held up. Now watch here. Andy's going to go for a kill with his left off the back wall. Right here.
Well, he hesitated, and then it was too late.
I don't know. Now I've changed my mind. I thought Andy was deeper in the court. Andy was right next to Emmett there, and that ball was up.
That's a tough one to digest because he really doesn't really make the effort. He knows where the ball's going to cross through, right? I mean, he knows the general vicinity of that ball's. He should take one good strong step to show that he's trying to go and lift a hand up, right?
I think he thought one step was going to be right into Emmett, and I don't think he wanted to run right into Emmett. I mean, I'd like to see that replay again. I mean, if we can, we're in an injury timeout here.
20-21.
It seemed like Emmett was more to Andy's right at 90 degrees, and Andy was going to take a 45-degree angle at that ball, but yet he didn't make much of a move at it, which tells me maybe he didn't see it initially, and then when he did see it, he couldn't get to it. Let's watch this here, Dave. Andy goes for a cross-corner back wall kill with his left. Now he's back in good court position there.
That is interesting. Don't really know what's going through Andy's head, though.
It didn't look like he made much of a move for that ball. But then again, Dave, these guys have gone for every single ball that wasn't a flat rollout. I mean, you've seen both guys diving into the back wall. You've seen pre-dives and flying dives. I think you have to give Andy the benefit of the doubt that he's going for everything. There hasn't been one ball he hasn't gone for, nor Emmett.
Now we have 2 minutes. We're going to take a break here in the booth. We'll be back in just a bit. As soon as Andy gets back, there's a glove change. Stay close here at racefor8.com.
charge a timeout, though. We're at 2 minutes. Okay, well, I got to charge a timeout. Timeout, Emmett.
And Dave, this has now become a 7-minute break and counting. We had about 5 minutes for the injury timeout, 2 minutes for the glove change, now a timeout on top of that.
I think it was a good call from the referee who gave a 2-minute timeout, and then Emmett found that there was an equipment issue with his glove, and the referee stand pretty strong there with that.
Well, you know, Dave, I talked to Emmett about this earlier. I said, I've seen guys tie their shoes 8 times during a match, you being one of those people, but I've not seen someone fiddle with their gloves as much and as often as you do. I mean, he's changing gloves, Dave, 2 points into a match because they're not comfortable. Wouldn't you just throw those out of your bag if you knew it wasn't comfortable? Why put it back in? A lot of questions, Dave, that I'm trying to get answers to.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I'll just wait for the cliff notes.
Hold it. Replay. Sorry.
This is one of the slowest games, and if you're actually going to calculate just the amount of action that's been on the court, we're down to about 3.5 minutes.
So it's an NFL game then?
Second serve.
Exactly.
Why do people like the NFL again? No, seriously.
The commercials.
That's a real question.
Commercials.
I just can't get over it. How anyone would want to watch that. I'm not sorry either.
Now you see this.
Let's pay to watch people give each other brain damage. Good sport. The worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
We're tied at 21.
Doesn't even make sense. Let's put a bunch of pads on, you know, kill each other with the top of our helmets. Stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're all together at 21. He had a good lead here, at least 5 points, and Emmett did what he did yesterday. He bounced back. And it hasn't been because of the dislocated finger from Andy Nett either.
Oh, and Emmett gets that. I mean, Emmett's got a beat on that, and we've seen him dive a couple of times. Ball's into the right corner. He's diving to his left. Has a good play on it and just comes up short, Dave, on those pickups.
And that's a point for Andy Nett that brings him to 22. Coming up next, you're going to see the men's senior finals at 4 o'clock. That's going to be Nadi Alvarado versus
21.
Matt McLaughlin.
That should get us back on schedule.
I'm not following you.
Oh, okay. Andy had this rally won with an easy fly kill opportunity, but now it's Emmett. And Andy with an unbelievable pre-dive. Dave, that's the shot that put Andy on the map. Remember, he was down 10-0 to Chip Morales in a qualifier final. He backhand flipped, pre-dive, killed, and came back and scored 11 straight points. Maybe there is no Minnesota Dreamboat without that shot 2.5 years ago in Tucson.
Well, Bailey told me that's what attracted her to him. And there's a point. Side out, excuse me.
And Emmett has been in this position now 3 times in this event.
21-23.
Emmett played a good point there. He got the shot that he wanted. He didn't create enough space with that right-hand fly kill, though, Dave. It was too close to his body. He had to play more of a paddle shot from that position.
No. Short, way short. 22nd serve.
He didn't even grant him the appeal there, Dave. He was insulted that it was even requested.
The referee just said no.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to give you the appeal.
Yeah.
It is kind of comical.
It's kind of like if you're trying to buy a $30,000 car and you offer the salesman $18,000. I mean, there's not even anything to say. Just walks away. That was an amazing shot, Dave, from Andy Nett.
That was unbelievable.
That analogy?
No, the shot from Andy Nett.
Okay. Andy went for the ace right there.
When you use used car salesman analogies, it loses me. And Andy takes down Emmett Peixoto, but he will not shake with his left hand because he had a dislocated finger that he received about midway through this game, right before halftime.
And now, Dave, Andy Nett has captured his second fifth-place finish of the season. I mean, this was an impressive fifth-place finish. Emmett played extremely well here today. Andy played just a little bit better. Andy Nett took out Charlie Shanks in Tucson for fifth place, and now he's taken out Emmett Peixoto. So he's beat a number one and a former number one, Dave, now in tournament play, and he has to feel pretty good about that going into the last stop of the season, where he has officially qualified, Dave, for the Players' Championship, as has Emmett Peixoto. We've only got one spot remaining. That will be between, Dave, Aaron Garner, John Iglesias, Vic Perez, John Bike. I mean, there's a number of names out there. Right now, the front runner is Aaron Garner based on his quarterfinal finish here. But, Dave, it's a very exciting time here on the Race for 8 Tour. I mean, we've got so many scenarios and possibilities. Guys really elevating their games. We see now Luis Moreno and Sean Lenning starting to regain that rivalry that, you know, we didn't see since the Players' Championship. And Dave, good things are in store here at the WPH and the Race for 8 Pro Tour.
I was a little worried there that Emmett Peixoto, who's been playing incredible ball, could be taking over your spot in the rankings there and kind of giving you some havoc.
Well, it's funny you say that. In the race points now, Dave, I am now 0.5 points ahead of Emmett with 24.5, Emmett with 24.0. If Emmett would have won that match, we would have been tied. Now remember, Emmett and I had finished lost in the same round of every event this year up until yesterday, where he was 1 point from the semifinals. We would have matched that again here, then kept that streak alive. Emmett finished 5th a couple of times when I finished 7th, so that was the discrepancy there in points. But I also, Dave, have points from the Players' Championship and from the Nationals, which gives me a substantial edge for now, but those points are going to drop off in May. So we'll only be counting those points through the Race for 8-2 season, and it will be very close between Emmett and I. And Andy Nett also will be in that discussion, particularly after this 5th place finish and a run of quarterfinal finishes. He's just one semifinal finish away from kind of really creeping into also that top 5.
We're going to take a quick break. We have the Senior Pro Tour Finals. That's the over 40s between Matt McLaughlin and Natti Alvarado Jr., who already has won one of these. That was in Houston. So we're going to see this next one coming up next. And Matt McLaughlin and his family, they're watching back at home. Pat McLaughlin, which I know is a longtime handball player. I'm sure you've met him sometime. He's tuned into this broadcast. Natti Alvarado and his family, and all of those back at home. You stick around. We'll have more action here at racefor8.com.
Working and working out. Never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
We are different. Society should aspire to be more like us.
Be part of the first class. Get energized. Get outside.
Hold on, guys. It's gonna get bumpy.
And get moving. Experience the power of physical activity. Join the movement at ActionHeroAlliance.com.